coming up in Japan, in Australia, as well as in the US. So what I would like to share with you here has two parts. One part is something that we all need to reflect upon, and this is the fact that we have here in the convening group representatives of a country that has the highest burden of TB in the world, but has the highest ambition, the best plans, and the most amazing rollout that you can see in terms of TB in the world. And I'm sorry for the colleagues from other countries. I know that you might not like what I said, but this is the reality. And I want to thank Prime Minister Modi and you, Excellency Minister of Health, because you kept the pressure, you kept the commitment of ending TB by 2025. And I will tell you what that delivers, because there were a lot of skepticals at some time. Is this feasible or not? That ambition, announced already in 2017 and then in 2018 in March by Prime Minister Modi, and recommitted in March during the Varanasi board meeting of Stop TB Partnership. What that did two amazing things. The country had to create a plan of what in the world means to end TB by 2025. And I can tell you that even high-income countries are not having this plan. TB is an airborne pandemic and it's everywhere. We didn't manage to end TB or eradicate or eliminate. We didn't manage to eradicate any disease actually, but anyway, leave that aside. But even on TB, and most countries don't have that plan. They don't know what it takes, what it costs, what you have to put in place. And India did that. Without having that plan, as crazy as it is, as you had in US, President Kennedy saying we go on the moon, okay? People were like, yeah, sure. But you had to make a plan and to see what it costs and what it takes. Without having that plan, nothing moves. So that was the first thing that India did. And then for the people that were skeptical and were not aware, I'm not going into the complete things because the Honorable Minister shared, they increased 3 times and 4 times the budget. And on top of that, it drove an energy and it drove a passion in the country that took not only the health colleagues, but also the entire society. There is a movement in India now, we shared today with the leadership of Philippines, with the acting Minister of Health, in which people with TB are being adopted by citizens of the country to be supported during the treatment. What an amazing entire society movement is, when people that have money and are more privileged are embracing people with TB, offering them some money or some food or even a shoulder to cry their problems. And that is where you go to the level of the grassroots, of the village, of the individual that understands the TB story. So we were with our board meeting in March in Varanasi, and we had an amazing moment in which the Prime Minister Modi really reaffirmed the efforts of ending TB by 2025. And what we did, I work for Stop TB Partnership, and we have a board, and we are very honored, happy, thrilled to have the Minister of Health of India as the chair of our board. So what we did in that board, we did 3 things that I want to share with you. First, we discussed and we came very energized back, and some of you are in the room, that actually we can end TB, okay? Not eradicate, not eliminate, but end TB, meaning we drive the numbers down to a level that is more comfortable than where we are right now. I gave the example this morning, Indonesia wants to end TB, and that is a cutoff point of 70 per 100,000. That's what Indonesia defines as ending TB. I know that India has the same. I don't want to enter into this discussion, but I want everyone that leaves that door to be very convinced that it's feasible to end TB. If you don't, you come and speak with me and I wait you outside with some entertainment. Is the fact that it starts with that, to believe that we can do it. The second thing is the leadership. We in Varanasi launched an initiative called Coalition of Leaders as Stop TB Partnership, and we hope to build on the commitment of Prime Minister Modi and have several other heads of states joining this movement and becoming the drivers of the ending of TB. Already the president of Indonesia, already the president of Brazil, who weeks after the event in Varanasi launched a decree around tuberculosis, and we have at least 5 other leaders that either showed already their leadership in ending TB or plan to do so, because that's what we need. We need the leaders of the countries to want to end TB. The second thing that we were convinced when we left Varanasi that will help us to end TB is what you discussed here, are innovations and the new tools that we have. And there is a lot that is available and a lot more to come. We have, in Varanasi we had at the board, we had actually something we never did, and a lot of you will roll their eyes if I tell you what it was. It was a sort of fashion parade of 25 innovators from India with their products. So when you think of 25 people coming and presenting their products, you're like, oh my goodness, probably was horrible. Actually, it was awesome. They were just from India and they were coming with products over the last 2 years, and they were showing that there is a lot of energy in the TB space. And I know that the similar things are happening in a lot of countries. We were just last week in Japan, and there is a lot happening for the TB space in Japan as well. So there is a lot happening in terms of innovation and digital tools and digital health for TB that we will need to build upon and bring in our programs. Because if we want to end TB, we have 7 years, very little time. We need to accelerate a lot of things, including Teresa is doing a fantastic job with her team of putting these new tools into the guidelines. Where WHO needs to work a little bit more is in pre-qualifying the things much quicker, because that's where I think it takes a lot of time to get these things on the markets. And not only to get them on the markets, but ensure that people have access to them. Because if they are made to be reached by people like us that have the rights and the privileges in the place, then we are doing nothing good. So we left India very happy because we saw that there is a lot of energy with the private sector as developers as well as providers that are doing a lot of work there. The last thing that we saw there was the fact that the countries are showing a lot of ambition. You know, some of you here in the room, and I'm sorry, I think we are a group of converted. We speak between each other. It's like we are in the church because we believe in the church that we speak here. There is nobody that is disagreeing, so hopefully we have some discussions. But the point is that traditionally in TB space we say countries don't have ambition. Well, it's not like that anymore. And I'm happy to see here a team from the Global Fund, starting with Mark and Urban and Richard and Daisy and the others, that can tell you that even the applications to the Global Fund are extremely ambitious. But let me tell you something that happened in 2022, which is a lot of countries, starting with India, but also Indonesia, but also Bangladesh, as well as Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa. In 2022, even though still wrestling with COVID, these countries managed to diagnose and treat the highest number of people with TB ever, ever in the history. And we say that we have 3-4 million people missing with TB. In 2019, we were at 3 million missing. COVID made us to have 4 million missing. In 2022, according to what we have as numbers, we will have less than 3 million people missing with TB, which is the best ever figure. So if that was possible in 2022, still with COVID, still with little resources, there is nothing that can stop us to continue to do that if we want to do it. Okay? The last thing that I want to, so we left very energized from Varanasi, and I hope we keep that energy up. But I tell you where the rubber hits the road, and several people spoke about it. Is the UN high-level meeting is coming in September. We need to have a very strong political declaration. And I want to thank very much, because we have here 4 very powerful countries that will be very important in the negotiations of our Zero TB declaration. Your voice will be extremely important. So my plea has 2 angles. One is, let's make sure that we have a very strong political declaration that has very clear targets that we need to reach, Every single country in the world needs to contribute to it. We need to have numeric targets. We need to have strong language on community rights and gender, and strong language on research. But the other thing is this. In parallel with the TB meeting, there are two other meetings. There is a UNHLM on UHC. There is a UNHLM on PPR. For reasons that are really difficult for me to understand, the UHC community, the PPR community, as well as the AMR community are oblivious to the TB problems. Oblivious completely. It's very shameful because having three UNHLM, one after each other, you need to have a red line between them. Otherwise, what are we doing here? It's very shameful because on PPR, TB is an airborne pandemic. Maybe DG Tedros cannot get all the WHO colleagues except Teresa to call it an airborne pandemic. It is an airborne pandemic. All of us that went to school know what is a pandemic and know what's airborne. Why is TB not even mentioned once in the PPPR discussions? I don't know. But you are part of all these discussions. So I beg you, don't forget about TB the moment you get out of the door of the mission. And when you are in these negotiating rooms, as very strong countries, raise the flag and say, can I understand where TB stays? When COVID happened, it was the TB doctors, it was the TB labs, the TB nurses that were transformed into COVID. So the investments that were made at that time in TB helped COVID. So we need to be completely cuckoo not to use the investments that will be done for PPR to help TB as well. And that's not to say TB separately, but TB as part of the conversation, and because it's not just for TB, it's anything airborne. Goes through the nose, ends up in the lungs, and it will be taken care by the pulmonologists, right? So that's with the PPR. On the UHC, I think Dr. KG and you, sir, made a good point about Japan and what happened. Universal health coverage means reaching people with services. Primary health care, ensuring that the lowest level of the care is embracing as well the TB, and that's what happened in Japan, and I'm sure that you will present that. Also, people with TB are the most vulnerable, are among the most vulnerable ones. So if you want to reach UHC, is a good metric is you reach the people with TB, then you are sure that we are very close to reach the UHC. The AMR conversation, and next year will be an AMR UNHLM, okay? People with AMR run off TB like oil from water. I don't understand. Because drug-resistant TB kills at least represents death through TB, and drug-resistant TB represent 25% of the death to AMR. So the logical will be to really address TB, drug-resistant TB, when you fight for AMR. But again, that discussion doesn't happen. The 4 countries here that we are very happy come together are members of the G20 as well. For God, please, can you at least mention a paragraph or a sentence around tuberculosis if we are serious about it? Not just, you know, it's so pathetic, and you know that we are looking if the word TB even appears, and the only time that the word TB appears in these documents is Global Fund for AIDS, TB and Malaria. You know, that's very sad. Somebody told me, oh, in the, what I don't want to point, in the G7 communique TB is mentioned. Because it is because of the Global Fund TB for TB, AIDS, and malaria. If we are serious, I end here. We have TB with us for thousands of years. People with TB are not the darlings of the world. To be honest, not even us dealing with TB are not that sexy. And we are very thrilled when we get the attention of some of the donors and some leader like Prime Minister Modi and you, Your Excellency, Minister of Health. It's very difficult to really forget why we are here. There are some people out there, their lives depend on what we do. And in TB, that's more pregnant than probably invisible than in any other disease. Because they are the people that are not in the face of anyone. They are the people in the global south, and they are the people in which big pharma doesn't make big money. And that's why they are not that much visible in the big capitals. But I am here in front of a big audience, and I really hope that by the end of this event, everybody will be a huge TB champion. But if not, we will be after you, counting your dreams and your houses, and reminding you that TB still kills 4,400 people every day, including 700 children. In India, we said, TB Harega Dunia Jitega. That means TB loses and the world is winning. So I really hope that TB Harega Dunia Jitega. Thank you.